2 Peter chapter 3, verses 2. Beloved, that with the Lord 1 day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day.
I will be putting forth a nominee next week. It will be a woman.
In some cases, however, societies come through relatively unscathed by adopting a series of judicious reforms initiated by elite.
President Trump says he wants to replace Ginsburg without delay.
The Judiciary Act of 1789 was United States federal statute adopted on 24th of September, 1789.
This will stand the test of the time.
After 2 millenniums, he will revive us. Again, a day to God is 1,000 years.
This is the last year of a lame duck president. And if Ted Cruz or Donald Trump get to be president, they've all asked us not to confirm or take up a selection by President Obama.
In 1857, the Supreme Chief Justice Roger B. Taney said a black man had no rights a white man was bound to respect.
If we count from 1030 A.D. to 2030 A.D., you have the second millennium, second prophetic day. That after...
Looks like signed into law by George Washington on September 24, 1789, and major amendments were in
1850, Supreme Court refused to free a slave, Dred Scott, even though he had lived for many years on free soil.
What does the Equal Protection Clause mean today? What did it mean in 1868?
I have fulfilled my constitutional duty. Now it's time for the Senate to do theirs. Presidents do not stop working in the final year of their term. Neither should a senator.
Women didn't have the right to vote until many years later, until 1920.
2 days.
they will be revived.
Now, why is this date important to me?
I want you to use my words against me. So if a vacancy occurs in their last year of their first term, guess what? You will use their words against them.
I had to do something called a RFE. Me and my wife, we had to conduct some paperwork and send it out. And it needed to be in by the 24th of September. There's another date, October 2nd, which is next month. If we didn't get it in, we'd have to refile, and the fees are going to be increasing.
There was an ideal of equality. It couldn't be achieved perfectly in their times because they were creatures of their own age.
The largest increase that I could remember, and I don't even think the American public is aware of it. So immigration is a pretty big thing with the United States.
Recognizing that these grandly general clauses have growth potential, and that is part of what has made our country so great, respecting the dignity of people who were once forgotten, left out, even deliberately the victims of discrimination.
But you see here, for new citizens to become legal citizens, it's going to almost double. It looks like 83% increase in some effect, or for some visas.
Religion and the American Civil War had many interlinking causes and circumstances unique to their age.
And this is for all visas, for all legal immigration into the United States, whether anybody's going to stay here or just work or just go to school. There's going to be a large increase. So the only people that really aren't going to have to pay a lot is the illegal immigrants. And that kind of concerns me because they spend a lot of money to get here, and then they get shipped back to their host countries, usually absolutely for free. Now, having known that most of these people don't commit any major crimes besides illegally coming over the border, I would wonder if it would be wise to give them temporary status, temporary work visas, fine them, and make them pay for their own travel back. As it is, the excuse for the increase in fees has been that because of illegal immigration, the legal immigration process has been penalized. Something I just don't understand.
And increasing indebtedness of the state.
So this is also concerning because this was done, I guess, to prevent poor immigration into the United States, but we see here a story of slow, uneven, unequal wage growth over the last 40 years.
Other two important elements were stagnating and declining living standards of the general population.
What is the state of U.S. wages? Slow wage growth persists. Consistent positive wage growth has occurred in only 10 years of the last 40 years.
If there's a Republican president in 2016 and a vacancy occurs in the last year of the first term, you can say, Lindsey Graham said, let's let the next president, whoever it might be, make that nomination, and you could use my words against me, and you'd be absolutely right.
It will be a woman.
Okay, so they're very concerned about poor people immigrating to the United States, but then if wages are increasing, it shouldn't be a problem.
Elite overproduction generally leads to more intra-elite competition that gradually undermines the spirit of cooperation, followed by...
When y'all changed the rules about appellate judges and district court judges to get your way, I thought it was a really abuse of power. And what you have done here is you've made the caucuses, the Republican and Democratic caucuses, are now not going to have to reach across the aisle.
So what does that mean?
That we're going to pick the most hard-ass people we can find. So over time, the judiciary is going to be more
ideological polarization and fragmentation of the political class, preventing catastrophe.
So it's a very debatable issue and something I decided to go ahead and bring to the forefront.
A house divided against itself cannot stand. It will become all one thing or all the other.
Because it is an international issue. It's just not just a local thing. Something happened to me. So I know a lot of Americans aren't aware of it, but it is a changing face of America.
As a nation, we began by declaring that all men are created equal.
Because I think we've all learned when we were younger that, America is a place of immigrants. Or it was.
We now practically read it soon. It will read all men are created equal except Negroes and foreigners and Catholics. When it comes to this, I should prefer emigrating to some country where they make no pretense of loving liberty. To Russia, for instance, where despotism can be taken pure and without the base alloy of hypocrisy. Abraham Lincoln.
Preventing catastrophe.
Near-Earth objects. There's been one discovered here in the last 36 hours coming directly towards the Earth and narrowly missing the Earth on the 24th.
But by the same word, the heavens and earth that now exist are stored up for fire, being kept until the day of judgment and destruction of the ungodly.
We should expect many years of political turmoil peaking in the 2020s.
But it was an idea to grow and develop from one generation to another.
But on the third day, they will be raised to live in his presence. So, when does this third day begin?